All right, so you're getting into your documents. I think you have another song connection option today. Yep, 4 benefits of practice and or song connections. So, we can start with either one. What are some ideas you have? Oh, by the way, for various purposes throughout the year, including our IB programming, sometimes I'll have to record lessons. And I'm doing that today. Last year when I was recording lessons, it was just a simple record the meet. This year I've got to set this camera up and it's not being broadcast anywhere. No one's seeing you other than a couple of observers. So just so you're aware. Why is practice important? Let's start there and then we can song connect. Practice makes perfect. Yep, that's a phrase we hear sometimes. What else? What's another benefit of practice? What do you gain the more you practice?
Skill.
Skill, experience. It's a few ideas for the journal in terms of 4 benefits of practice. Anyone remember the song we started with? If you're thinking back, what was the song from Monday? Frozen, Into the Unknown. I decided to stay with Disney, and this one's Hakuna Matata. How could you connect that to what we've been talking about? What? You might be right, Sam. I just couldn't hear you.
They're both Disney.
Both Disney, sure. And the message in both has something to do with not worrying. Maybe the mindset you approach things you encounter with. So Into the Unknown Monday was, you might be scared or nervous, but how do you go into the unknown? This one is you can approach life with lots of worries or not. So it's perspective again. They have a little bit of a different feel, of course, but both can connect to our idea of perspectives that we've been inquiring about as we talk about concepts. All right. Reminders, make sure you use your to-do list, use Rocket Block, use Google Keep, any other organization tools. Excuse me. Just so you know, meetings will be starting on a regular schedule, which means probably oftentimes on Wednesday and Thursday. My room will be locked and I won't be here until like right as we're starting, given the meeting schedule. So keep that in mind for your second block class tomorrow and your first block class right now. Be ready to turn in your Who Are You one-pagers. Start a class Friday is the due date. Deadline at this point is Monday. And anytime you're working to a deadline instead of a due date, I would ask that you communicate. If you took an electronic copy and didn't need it, don't end up using it, you can turn it in with a comment and just tell me you did it on paper. Remember to follow the structure and the scoring, so when I release these slides to you, if you're not sure you've looked at it, do make sure you take a look. All right.
All pink.
So, on these days, we have, usually when we start our day 2, we're going to go back to day 1, and I'll make some connections and ask you to Here's the first one. Hopefully it'll load. It's a very fast TikTok.
Walk roll for ya. First one. Probably goes back to the Lord. Nice. Second one. Little air. So chill.
Okay,
Walk roll for ya.
it's a quick TikTok. How does it connect back to what we were doing on, or something we did on Monday? What was the video we started with on Monday?
Oh, yeah.
Into the Unknown was the song.
Oh, back.
The Backwards Bicycle.
Oh.
Right?
Not a bike.
And he's on a bike. And maybe some of you are mountain bikers, but to other of you, I can see your eyes kind of going, as he's doing that little course. And we talked about how, you remember the message he gave in that video? Knowledge what? You can always scroll back up if you need to. Knowledge doesn't equal understanding, and he walks us through that. And we're talking about practice a little bit today, as you did the concept analysis on Monday of our key concepts and related concepts and a global context even with peace, justice, and conflict management. And so I thought the mountain bike TikTok would be a good way to get you thinking about, well, I can ride a bike. Not sure I could ride a backwards bike. Maybe you could do a mountain bike course like that if that's a thing you do. If not, it's a thing you have to practice and ask questions and develop knowledge set in order to be able to do it. Sometimes you have to unlearn in order to learn. Sometimes you have to practice. I came up with this example after your class, since your class is my first one. I played Ultimate Frisbee in college, the U of M. Anyone ever seen Ultimate Frisbee played for real? People say they play it, but they're not really playing it. And for people who really played, it's hard when you see people saying they're playing when they're not really playing. But in Ultimate Frisbee, when you throw, so there's a forehand in Frisbee, and when you throw with your right hand, you step with your right foot. That's totally different than everything else. Football, baseball, everything else, you step opposite. So as another backwards bicycle example, whenever I would switch from Frisbee to any other sport, I'd have to recalibrate my feet. And so, since we've been doing perspective, point of view, I thought I'd show you a little of what Ultimate looks like. The music is some highlights. Most colleges have teams, a lot of high schools have teams as well. And you just advance the Frisbee down to the end zone. There's different offenses and defenses. It's pretty fun to watch. Huh?
I don't think you're that way.
There's different like I said, different offenses and defenses, depending on if it's windy. It's good defense. Okay, so I like to start with examples to get you thinking perspective. Mountain bike, Ultimate Frisbee, maybe some things you haven't seen before. And that gets us opening our minds to what we're doing today. There's more to that if you want to see more highlights, but here's the results of the stick person test across your whole 10th grade class. The arms up have it. 56 amongst you are stick people arms up. 48 if we combine these two, but 24 stick arms down, 24 straight across, and then that's never appeared before in any of my tests before, where people are going both up and down. So remember, part of the message there is sometimes things you don't even realize can have different perspectives do. Do any of you catch yourselves doing it differently depending on what you're doing? Okay. Some of you do. Some of you are like, no, I'm always a stick arms down person. All right. So let's actually go back a little more to yesterday. Not yesterday. Day one. Trying to figure out if I'm going to say day one or Monday. Depends on if I get it straight in my own head. So we ended with this story. If you go back to your number 9 from Monday, right? We were talking about this story where the guy received $500,000 at 80 years old. After spending 56 years of his life impacted by this sad injustice. And we were talking about, is this justice? Is there a better way to achieve justice with this? And then we did the second example, some of you were remembering as we started class today, where these kids, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds, shot a 22-year-old college student baseball player, and it was just for the fun of it. Is there justice in that case? What would justice be? What do you think? All the people who did it going to jail, bless you. Does that bring peace to the family, do you think?
Not fully.
Yeah, not fully, but it does something because there's that sense that it's fair, the word we used as we were talking about justice last class. With your 9 and 10, if you want to put a lot of detail in 9 and 10, you can. If you just want to put a couple ideas, so you remember a little bit of what we talked about, that's fine. I'm going to be flexible with 9 and 10. If I was redesigning it, I would change how I asked the questions in 9 and 10. I would combine them into what do these examples show. And sometimes horrifying things happen. And in both of these cases, the justice system is involved, the courts are involved. That doesn't necessarily guarantee that peace is achieved. Any questions as you look back at your day 1 work? 1 to 10. Anything we need to return to? I know it was a packed day. Okay. Then, we're gonna practice today. That's why we started with the journal we started with. We're gonna practice doing more with context, connections, and point of view. I need your help in voice form for this today. Anyone remember this first kids book I showed you
Yes.
last week?
Chicken.
Yeah, with the rooster. It all started with the rooster. It's called Zoom. Introduced the idea of perspective. Nice job. Alright, so now we're doing one called I Want My Hat Back. And I need 8 people to volunteer to read very short parts. So I need a fox, a frog, a rabbit, a turtle, a snake, something that I think is an armadillo, a moose, and a squirrel. I have faith in you that you can do this, even at 8:18 on a Wednesday. Claim your part. Anyone ready to be a fox? It's very short. Very short and easy reading. Thank you, Sydney. Who's going to be the frog?
Me.
Thank you, Quinn. How about a rabbit? Thank you, Lily. Turtle. Thank you, Alex. Snake. Robbie, thanks. Armadillo. Maybe you can verify that it's actually an armadillo. Braden, thank you. This is very exciting. Never done this before. Moose. Someone can do it. It's like, here, I'll tell you how many words it is. It's very short. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 words. Thank you, Solomon. And a squirrel. Thank you, Gwen. All right. I appreciate it. So the way it's going to work, there are pictures with the animals. So if you see the animal that you are, the text color that is not black is going to be you, because you're having a conversation with me. I'm playing the bear. Okay? Huh?
So there's that many words. She counted them out, dude.
Yeah, it's really, really short. It's called I Want My Hat Back. I love the illustrations here. My hat is gone. I want it back. Have you seen my hat?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. Thank you anyway. Have you seen my hat?
No, I have not seen any hats around here.
Okay. Thank you anyway. Have you seen my hat?
No, why are you asking me? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any hat anywhere. I would not steal a hat. Don't ask me any more questions.
Okay. Thank you anyway.
I think he's.
Have you seen my hat?
I haven't seen anything all day. I've been trying to climb this rock.
Would you like me to lift you on top of it?
Yes, please.
Have you seen my hat?
I saw a hat.
My hat doesn't look like that. Thank you anyway. Have you seen my hat?
What is a hat?
Thank you anyway. What do we think this is?
I think it's a mole.
It's an anteater.
That's a mole. That's a skinless mole. Or
It's a worm.
That's a caterpillar.
Worm seems really likely.
I think it's a hairless mole.
Nobody has seen my hat. What if I never see it again? What if nobody ever finds it? My poor hat. I miss it so much.
Awesome.
I reversed it. You're the first line. You can't see. Can you help him, Logan?
What's the matter?
If you can see it, can you read it?
What's the matter?
I have lost my hat and nobody has seen it.
What does your hat look like?
Thank you. It is red and pointy and I have seen my hat. I know. Skilled running. You stole my hat. I love the eyes. The standoff. I love my hat.
What do you do? Sat on it.
Can you see?
No.
Is this
Anyone who can see it? This is a.
I can do this.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Have you seen a rabbit wearing a hat?
No. Why are you asking me? I haven't seen them. I haven't seen any rabbits anywhere. I would not eat a rabbit. Don't ask me any more questions.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you to all the volunteers for reading. I appreciate it.
That's the moral of the story.
How comes your door?
Don't ask me questions.
Don't ask me any questions.
And there he is,
That was your money.
sitting very happy with his hat. Okay,
I just eat it.
we went from some really serious examples to this kid's book that has it in the. That's on purpose. Because I want you to see that within every story, stories are based on conflict. And there's a conflict here, and what is it?
He doesn't know his hat is.
He's lost his very valuable red hat. Okay?
Personally, I think you each should have
And so, what I want you to do on your documents now is think about our concept terms and key concept terms. Let's start with context. What is the context of the story?
You ain't got no hat, you lost it.
The bear lost his hat. And so what's he doing?
Asking if he was
He is problem solving. He's going around to try and figure out where his hat is. This is a normal thing you do. You kind of ask around and try and figure it out. How would we apply the word connections to this story as he goes along and talks to all these different animals?
I don't know. He's making connections with the animals to see if he's having.
Yeah, he is making those connections in order to try and find his hat. And sometimes the animals aren't able to speak his same language. Which animal says, I don't know what a hat is? The mystery animal, right? Said, what is a hat? Like, I can't help you with that. Which brings us to point of view. And the turtle's like, dude, I'm trying to get on top of this rock. I haven't seen anything other than this rock. So each animal has a slightly different point of view, given their unique personalities and place in the world. It's a kid's book, and a silly one at that, but it still delivers a message that can connect to these key concepts that we are we were mapping on day 1, and now we're going to practice with today. So is there peace or justice in this short kid's book?
Yes. Albert kills
He did, Robbie says he did get his hat back. So the bear is at peace. Is there peace for everyone?
Yes.
him.
Explain.
The rabbit is in a better place.
Rabbit was how he sold
But the squirrel is looking for him.
Yeah, the squirrel's now
Go
missing
eat him too.
the friend.
Leave no witnesses.
Well, and does the bear need some help with conflict management?
Yeah.
Yes.
Kids murder people.
He was very friendly to all the people when he was asking them where his hat was, and then not so much with the rabbits who actually had the hat. I'm having a moment considering why the author chose the rabbit to have the hat.
Not
Bear
rabbits.
eat rabbit.
What?
I would take rabbits.
Then
An armadillo.
Sure.
I was making the connection to rabbits coming out of hats.
Oh. Yeah.
So we've kind of inquired as we went. You've done some note taking, hopefully on the number 1 whole class example. And so today there's kind of 2 more practice rounds and then a global context set of questions with a concluding question for you that has 2 levels. So let me preview your document first, and then I'll come back to the slides. So we did a whole class example, and even though that story is pretty straightforward, there's still a connection to all of our concepts and related concepts, and even justice, peace, and conflict management. I have selected a poem and another short story kids book, and you get to pick which one you want to work with for number 2. If you want to work with a small group or pair or individual that you choose, you can. But I'm going to ask you to connect using chat. So I'm going to walk you through that in a minute. Then you get to do a choice one. You pick a text of some sort. I've used today already TikTok. TikTok is a text. I got it because I felt like it would tell me something about all of you, so I considered like it homework for me to understand some of the references and the way it communicates messages. You can TikTok. You can YouTube. I've used YouTube already today. Artwork. There's lots of examples on the slides that I'll release to you. If you want to do written text, if that's more your preference, I've got poem links and things like that as well. Songs are poems. So if you've got a favorite song and you want to analyze it for number 3, you can. And then finally, and 2 and 3 can both be with people if you wish. When you work with people, the idea is you discuss and translate into your own words. It's not we all have the exact same thing. We all take information in differently and then translate it differently in words, though it will be close. Then you're going to think about global context. I'll show you these slides in a second. Tell me what interests you the most, what question you have as you look at them, how do you think they all connect. And then finally, this is the first time in our turn-in documents that you see a standard level option and a higher level option. So after you do all these rounds of practice, Either you're going to answer this standard level question, explain how the practice today has developed your understanding of connections, context, point of view, what have you realized? Or if you want to try the higher level, some of you were like, I don't know if I want to do higher level. What does that look like? What it looks like today is this. If you think you can answer the higher level question, you're going to just erase the standard level one. Okay? If you think the standard level better fits where you are, then you can just erase the higher level. It's not more questions, it's just a different kind of question. The higher level question today is, what's significant about the trends that have emerged as you've analyzed all of these things? What are the trends and why are they important to recognize? Do you see how that's a different kind of question? This higher one requires being able to recognize this, but doesn't require that you talk about it. It requires you talk about the next thing. All right, so let me go back to the slides and show you some of your options and introduce you to chat. So for number 2, your poem or short story or book textual analysis, I've got 2 more short stories, The Day the Crayons Quit and The Dullards, extra boring edition. These are actually YouTube videos. If you have headphones or if you want to use a phone to access them and listen, you can. Otherwise, if you click on it, you can read the text as the YouTube video plays and not have sound. So, and then it would go faster than the 7 minutes of audio as well. So it's up to you if you want story time and audio or not. Anyone know Johnny Cash? Right? Anyone know the song? I didn't link the song. I'll play it for you for a second. I've linked to the lyrics, but if you'd rather listen to the song, you certainly can, or you can do both. Like I said, songs are poems. Some of you will recognize the song when it starts.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash.
Oh, sad.
I hear the train a coming, it's rolling around a bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine. I don't know when, I'm stuck in Mosley prison.
Okay, here's a guy stuck in a prison. You can see a point of view already emerging, right? My computer's super slow. It's running. The lyrics are linked for you. Or you can go William Shakespeare. Johnny Cash to William Shakespeare in 2 steps. I would say that is the challenge higher level, but they all allow you to practice what we're looking to practice. So you pick the thing that you most connect with and do that. Choice textual analysis. Maybe you can do it based on a series you've recently watched. What's the context, point of view, connections within the series? Maybe it's a song, maybe it's a short story. If you're an art person, I linked a piece of artwork that I really like. Here's a source for poems. If you don't want to pick, because picking means too many options, you can just go back and do 2 of these. Okay? Some people like the choice. Some people, it creates a level of into the unknown that they don't want. So either way is fine. And finally, you've got your global context. Number 4, A, B, and C is tied to these slides. Okay? So, on Monday, when we did group work, you were standing and it was random. What I want to do today is say you choose today, but I want you to become familiar with the tool that is chat. So I want you all to get onto chat right now. It's chat.google.com. It can just be another tab. It's another tab for me. And you're all going to send me a hello or your favorite color or your favorite appropriate emoji. Okay? In chat right now. All of you must establish a connection to me through chat. So you have one more communication option. If you don't know how to start a chat with me, let me know. I don't know what my name pops up as. Kathy Matson. I think you plus. Yep. You hit the little plus, and then you say hi. We are actually going to use this in class on Monday as a whole class discussion. Some people like discussion where it's out loud. Some classes, they're quieter, they want to do it typing. So we're going to try all sorts of different things. And so here's the deal. Today, if you want to work in groups or pairs, that's fine. We have enough room where you could move around a little bit. But you're going to record your discussion using chat if you choose to work with a group. So you would start a group and you would have to include me in it if you want to work with a group as you work through this today. Okay? And I'll send you a response. The goal is practice and more independent than we did on day one so that you can inquire and become more knowledgeable as you explore these concepts. I'm going to give you, let's see, we're at 8:40, which means we've got 50 minutes left. There's kind of 3 portions and then the final question. So I'm going to time you and give you a sense of how long it should take. So for you to finish number 2, I'm going to give maybe 10 minutes, and then we'll talk quickly as a class after that. All right, go ahead. I'll be coming around. Be welcoming and warm if someone would like to work with you. And let me release the slides too. Yep.
We got Kevin on here, chat, and Joe Rojas. Let me call Joe Rojas. We got 6 people calling.
I don't, but I wish I did. Does someone have a Chromebook charger that we can use?
Yeah, there's one in that bag.
They'll see this. This one is heartbreaking. Really nice. Imagine your first.
Okay, if you've moved seats, can you move back? And you're going to keep working if you're not quite through 5. If you've phoned for a minute because you got done, that's fine, but can you put away when it's back to us together, please. We went from I want my hat back to the choices. Many of you did meet the dullards. What's the perspective? What's the point of view in the dullards? The family is what? Dull, and they're scared of what?
Change.
Scared of change, scared of the danger that might come from risk taking, and yet their kids are going to seek it. And you could analyze some messages there. The parents are at peace, but they don't have an awareness that the kids are sneaking out, right? So they might at some point not be at peace, and maybe the kids will push them to a place where they are no longer dull. Little Dud. Going to the circus. Okay? Many of you did the crayons one. The point of view there is what?
Crayons are mad.
Crayons have feelings. It's a pick I brought in because you might not think, it's kind of like Toy Story, right? But crayon based. It gets you thinking about what if crayons did feel things. And so it leads the main character Duncan to thinking about how he can bring peace to the crayons. Folsom Prison Blues has this guy who shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. It's always weird to speak song lyrics. We don't really know why that happened. Of course, we know it's wrong, but he is in jail, so maybe that's justice, but of course, he doesn't want to be there. 7 Ages of Man has a famous line, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. Talks about how we all go through phases of life and then die. It's actually rather a sad poem. You were able to find examples in all of these. Some of you went to series you liked and chose things. Some of you stuck with my picks. Either way, you were able to do the task, right? So what does that tell you? I'm going to jump to 5, this question. What have you realized as you've done this practice? It's the purpose of the day. What's true about these concept terms?
They connect to a lot of things, even if it's just like a kid's book.
Yeah, they connect to a lot of things, even a kid's book. They are everywhere. They are a lens for looking at all the sorts of texts we'll be looking at, and you look at texts in other places, other classes too. And what that means is the more you do that, the more your own point of view is going to develop as you ask those questions and inquire, and that will help you develop your knowledge set. And then, of course, you also did this. How many of you chose identities and relationships? Anyone? And you've done some of this in last year's English class. This becomes a part of ours just like last year. How many of you went orientation in space and time? These are really tough questions, right? One of the questions is, what questions do you have about this? How do you start to answer questions about what when means and what where means? It can be something that takes you back to Zoom and thinking about the Earth and the larger scheme of things. Personal and cultural expression. This will come up with some of the stories we do coming up next week. Scientific and technical innovation. Maybe you see this more in some classes than others, but I actually think every class you take contributes somehow to answering these questions. And this too, with the connections we're looking at now, helps address questions like the ones captured here. So, and of course, hopefully you notice peace and conflict resolution is something we're working with. So there's layers. Hopefully you're seeing connections. I appreciate that you worked well, and hopefully that practice sets us up for good things as we jump into more stories next week. Friday, you're going to be writing, just to let you know. You're going to see if you can pull it all together individually now that you've had a couple different group practices. And that will allow me to see how you write at this point in the year as well. Thank you. Don't forget your who are you. A lot of you are done, but if not, don't forget. Make a note somehow.
No, there's no wrestling room, there isn't a locker room. How'd you get it? I went to the locker room this morning.
Tomorrow.
Boy, free story, buddy.
Well, that's our Monday.
Wait, what were you asking? Yeah.
Really like you say.
Any fun to work?
Maybe what you said. You know, last night.
I'll tell you later. Oh, no, I was just joking, dude. I don't even remember that stuff. That's why I said I can't tell you.